بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Welcome in weekly lesson Islamic discussion, and tonight's topic is very important for everyone, especially if you want to make your food and yourself pure from haram. So as we have the ibadat, which is a worship, we have the muamalat, the transactions between people and each other, which is very important to know the ruling of these transactions. And before we go with the Islamic finance and the ruling of the Islamic finance and the importance of to follow the Islamic rules in transactions, we need to know what is the meaning of sales and trade. Allah Azza wa Jal said in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. Allah made the sales lawful and the interest haram, prohibited. And there is a ijma', there is agreement between the scholar that the bay' or the sales or the trade is halal unless there is a reason of prohibition. And there are some buyu', some sales, some trading, it's haram by the verses from the Quran and the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam speech, like the khamr, the wine, the swine, and also the blood, and also the dead animal, and also the what's called the idols, the asnam. And there is some muamalat, some transactions, it is haram, it's prohibited because the way of transaction, not because it is haram itself. The previous items, as I mentioned, it's haram by itself. So the wine is haram by itself. Haram means prohibited or illegal, Islamically. So khamr is illegally by itself, it's haram. Also, selling or buying the idols is haram. Selling or buying the swine or the pig is haram. The blood, as we will explain, to sell or buy the blood, you can donate blood, but don't sell or buy the blood. It is also haram. And also the dead animal, not slaughtered Islamically, it is haram. But some muamalat, some transaction, it is haram because the way of transaction, not because itself. And this is the very important, and this is the main topic of tonight. Because everyone knows khamr is haram, everyone knows the swine is haram, everyone knows the dead animal is haram. But the problem when you deal day-to-day transaction, you don't know is it halal or it's haram. It seems to be it's halal, but because the way of transaction and the process of transaction, it make it haram. طيب. You need to know the Sharia. If you look to these figures, Sharia means Islamic law. Sharia combines three main principles. The aqidah or the faith or the belief, which is very important. The first step of Islam is to believe. Once you believe, you will accept all the rest. Fiqh, practices and activities. When you have a belief, you have to practice this belief by doing ibadat, the worship. And also by doing muamalat, the transaction, man-to-man activities during the day or day-to-day activities. And also the third part of the Sharia is the manners and the ethics that Islam encourages the Muslim to follow. So this is the main purposes of Sharia, these three principles. So don't isolate or don't focus on only the Islamic punishment of hudud to represent the Sharia. So there is a misconception and misunderstanding of the Sharia. Sharia is to have hudud. Hudud means Islamic punishment. If someone commit some major sin, he has to be punished Islamically. But this is not the purposes of the Sharia. Sharia, before the Sharia, you have the ibadah, you have the aqidah, you have the akhlaq, the manners and etiquettes. So, in terms of ibadat, you have the ibadat, the 5 daily salah, you have the fasting. Inshallah, we will go through the fasting rules soon, inshallah, as we're reaching Ramadan in less than 2 months, maybe 1 month and a half. So inshallah, we will allocate some time to explain the ruling of fasting, So this is the ibadat, the 5 daily salah, the fasting, zakah, obligatory charity, and the hajj and umrah. And then also mu'amalat, the day-to-day activities. We have the economic activities, which is our topic tonight. We have social activities. How can we practice the social activity Islamically, especially between the two genders? How can we practice this relation Islamically? Also some political activity, like ruling principles in Islam. Let us focus tonight on the economic activities. We have 2 types of economic activities: the commercial and the charitable non-profit, means the charity side and the commercial, tijara, the trading, and the sadaqah, the charity. For the sadaqah or the charity, we have the zakah, which is obligatory charity. We have the waqf. Waqf means trust. Waqf means that you allocate this place for the purposes of worship. So you allocate this or dictated this place to be a masjid. This is called waqf and sadaqah. On the other hand, the commercial, we have the trading, the banking, the finance, the investment, all this kind of commercial finance or economic. So what is the source that's based on the ruling of the ahkam of the Sharia? Because how can we say this is halal, lawful, or this is haram? On which basis? The first base is the Quran, the word of Allah Azza wa Jal. It combines the rules, combines the ahkam. Second, if you didn't find the rules in the Quran, you go to the Sunnah, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam speech or action or acceptance or confirmation. So Sunnah is 5 types. Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam speech, when he deliver a ceremony or deliver a speech or a lesson, this is recorded in the book of Hadith. Or his action, when the Sahaba saw him praying or saw him fasting or saw him doing Hajj, this is also recorded, this Sunnah. Also his acceptance or his confirmation of the action in front of him. Someone or some Sahabi did an action and he accepted, didn't say don't do that. This kind of Sunnah. And there are 2 other Sunnah, the manners or akhlaq of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and also the features, the shape of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his appearance. So we have the Quran and the Sunnah and the ijma', the consonance or consensus or agreement between the scholars about this particular point. And the qiyas, like analogy, you do analogy of some action or something related to the origin. Like for example, the wine. It's haram because Allah mentioned in the Quran it's haram. Recently we have the drugs. The drugs that they didn't mention in the Quran, but it has similar effect. So we do analogy of the effect of the drugs with the khamr. So the scholar said the drugs is haram like the khamr. The drug is illegal like khamr. The same principle. There are different sources of Sharia like istihsan and istihab and different, but the main is the 4: Quran, Sunnah, ijma' agreement, and the qiyas. What is the prohibitions elements in the Islamic finance? Riba, usury or interest. خلاص. Rish means cheating, it's haram. Gharar, excessive uncertainty. producing and trading in haram products. So you cannot trade in khamr, in wine. You cannot trade in swine. Ihtikar, hoarding to buy the price. So you hold the items to make the price increase. This is called ihtikar or hoarding. Maysir, gambling. Also, this is one of the prohibition in Islam. Before we start to explain the prohibition of these items, there are 3 golden rules. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam give us these golden rules to avoid confusion and avoid asking the imams or the scholars, and you can't judge by yourself. Let us see what is the 3 golden rules. The first hadith, الحلال بين والحرام بين وبينهما مشبهات وفي رواية مشتبهات وفي رواية متشابهات لا يعلمها كثير من الناس فمن اتقى المشبهات استبرأ لدينه وعرضه ومن وقع في الشبهات كراع يرعى حول الحمى يوشك أن يواقعه إلى آخر الحديث. This hadith, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Nu'man ibn Bashir, the Sahabi, narrated that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the halal, the legal, is obvious. Haram, the illegal, is also obvious. In between, there is some doubtful items. You're confused. So, if you want to be, and no one knows these doubtful items, only the one with the knowledge knows these doubtful items. So, if you want to secure your deen, your religion, stay away from the doubtful. Easy. You know the halal, it's clear. You know the haram, it's clear. Something in between, stay away from it. And don't go and ask the shuyukh, just stay away, that's it. طيب. Next rule, حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك, means that leave what causes you doubt and return to the one which does not make you doubt. The same concept like before. So if you have doubt in something, leave it. No need to do it. The third rule, عن النواس بن سمعان رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه سأل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن البر والإثم فقال البر حسن الخلق والإثم ما حاك في صدرك وكرهت أن يطلع عليه الناس. So النواس بن سمعان asked Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم about the righteousness and the sins. What is the sins and what is the sinful things and what is the righteousness? And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, the righteousness is the good manners, the good akhlaq. And the ism, the sins, that something inside your chest or your heart annoyed you, means, and you dislike to disclose it to the people, to expose to the people. So if you do something and you are able to do this something in the front of the people, this means it's something good. But if you do this something and you try to hide yourself while you're doing, this means that you something not good. There's a very simple 3 rules to avoid confusion. First, stay away from the doubtful things because the halal is obvious and haram is obvious. Second, leave the doubtful to non-doubtful. Third is to stay or the ithm or the sense that something in your chest you dislike to expose to the people. طيب. Let us start first by riba, which is the most common, or the interest or the usury. The most common concept in Islamic finance. الربا. الربا from the Arabic word raba means increase. Because it seems to be you increase your money by give loan to someone 1,000 and take it from him 1,200. Seems to be increase, but actually it's not increasing. Allah Azza wa Jal made the trading and the sales lawful and the interest is illegal. So what is the riba? And how can we identify the riba? We have two types of riba. Riba al-qard or riba al-nasi'ah wa riba al-buyu' or riba al-fadl. The delaying or the loan riba, and the second one is the trading or the buyu' or the item of trading riba called fadl. What is the difference between these two types of interest? The loan riba is very simple. You give someone loan and he return it back by after time extra than you take. This is clear. It's called riba nasi'ah. Nasi'ah from the Arabic word nasa'ah means delay. Riba al-buyu' or riba al-fadl. You trade with some items, sell and buy, and these items, one of the ribawi item, one of the interest items, and you have differences in amount, differences in number between these items. So here is the difference, not in the money. The difference in the number or on the weight of the items. So it is not money at all, just items. And we will see what is these items. So how many items, how many types of riba? Two. The most common one is called the loan riba, or the nasi'a riba, or the delayed riba, or the qard riba. You take loan and pay loan back after time with increases. The second one is riba al-buyu', the trading riba. You trade with some items with a different in size, in number, different in amount. Listen to this hadith that explain the items that you should be careful when you trade with these items. There are 6 items. عن عبادة بن الصامت رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الذهب بالذهب والفضة بالفضة والبر بالبر والشعير بالشعير والتمر بالتمر والملح بالملح مثلا بمثل سواء بسواء يدا بيد فإذا اختلفت هذه الأصناف فبيعوا كيف شئتم إذا كان يدا بيد. طيب. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the gold is to be paid for by gold, silver by silver, wheat by wheat, barley by barley, dates by dates, salt by salt, like for like, equal for equal, payment being made on the spot. If these classes differ, sell as you wish if payment is made on the spot. So there are 6 items: gold, silver, wheat, barley, dates, salt. Why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned these 6 items? There is a wisdom behind that. It's not randomly selected. We explain what is the wisdom behind these 6 items. Gold. This is, by the way, these are the items that we deal with during our life. We have the gold, the silver, the currency, the dollars, the US dollar, the dirham, the riyal, all this currency. This is called currency, or depends on the wealth or the price, this currency. And then we have food stuff. We have grains. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions the wheat, the barley, corn, rice, didn't mention, meats, didn't mention, beef, all these types. As you can see, date and salt, wheat and barley, and then gold and silver. So why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam selected these items? I think the gold and the silver makes sense because this is a way of buying and selling. This is the currency in the past. They used to have a dirham from silver and a dinar from gold. This is the currency on their time. Currently we have, instead we have the notes. the banknotes or the currency or the dollar and US dollar and Australian dollar and so on. Type. The wheat and barley, we call it the qut, means the stored food. If you look to these items, the wheat and barley, if person have only these items, he can stay alive. He just grind this grain and make a bread, and that's it. And water, that's it. So this is something which is essential for life. Also the date. If you only have date, it's essential for your life only. It's combine a mineral, a sugar, a vitamin, enough for life. And also the salt. Salt is one of the essential items in your cooking. So this is the main items that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ mentioned in the hadith. And he said, if you want trade with gold, you have to equal amount. On the spot, on the same place, if you go to the gold shop with your old gold, you want to sell your old gold or exchange your old gold with a new one. According to this hadith, if you have 100 gram old gold, it should be exchanged with the same weight of the new gold. If you exchange with less, this is interest, riba, according to this hadith. Why? The gold will not lose the value, either gold old or new, the same. It will have the same features. Type. If you want to do it Islamically, you go to the gold shop and sell your old one first. Take the money in your hand. Here you change the gold to different items, money. In this case, you can have variation. Because if the similar items, from these 6 items, it should be equal. But if you change the gold to dollar, here is the item changed, only one condition, you have to exchange on the spot. Don't delay, means don't, for example, don't take the gold and then you mention to the seller that I will bring the money after 1 hour, after 1 day, after 2 days. You have to pay the money on the spot. When you take the gold, take the money, hand by hand. Take and give. Or give and take. خلاص? So, but the gold should be equal. Silver should be equal. طيب, what is the application of that in our life? To be يعني, more practical talking. Some people want to send money overseas. So money is like gold. Money is like silver. It is equal in terms of the purposes of uses. So it should be on the spot, and you have variation if they're different. For example, if you want to send Australian dollar to be exchanged to your country by Egyptian pound or by rupee or whatever, the variation in amount, it's allowable because they're different currency, but should be on the spot. So how can you make it on the spot? Your family in India or in Egypt and your money is here. If you want to make it Islamically, very simple, very, very simple. You go through agent or bank, for example, or whatever you call the Western Union, whatever currency agent. In this case, you give the bank or the agent the authority or power of attorney that he will, on behalf of you, will take the money from you, and he take admission fee, of course, and then he will send it overseas on behalf of you and exchange it on behalf of you. If you do that, no problem. But the problem if you do it by yourself, you send money to your family and your family is there and they take the money there in different currency, this is different. You should have some third party in between you and them in order to avoid this kind of interest. This is called the ribawi materials, that the gold, silver, and barley. After we explain and this is maybe the end or the last point tonight, take time, inshallah, try to finish on time, inshallah. The cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency is recently came to the financial process. And if you want to know what is cryptocurrency, it is virtuals or hypothetical currency. It's not an actual currency. It have like a code of commands which identified by the network and identified by the what's called the internet and some of the platform that have this kind of codes and can encode this code to see it. So different types of the cryptocurrency, not our deal, but we need to investigate if it's halal, lawful to do a cryptocurrency or not. As you know now, most of the finance done by the bank. And the bank itself, not necessarily working in a bank is something wrong. You need to check what is your responsibility, what is your role in the bank. Some of the rules in the bank could be lawful. So it does not mean that if you are working in a bank, there's something wrong. For example, one of the lawful process or lawful job in the bank, the security of the accounts. All of us, we use the net banking or using the transaction online. So if you're working to secure this transaction and to investigate any breakage of this security, this is lawful. You help the people in this kind of stealing, I can say that, electronic stealing. So there is not a problem in that. If your job is to have the privacy and the security of the transaction, investigating the break of this ruling and check if there is a stealing happen online, this is not a problem. The problem if you work in a department that deals with loans and giving loans and taking interest and or investing the money in haram trading, in buying alcohol, in buying swine, all this kind, this is a problem. And in Islam, if you are already in this job, Islam mentioned to you that you still have a chance to change. It means that stay in your place and search for another job and don't leave your place until you find this job, in order to perfect yourself and perfect your money to make it pure. And especially if you don't have any source other than this job. Islam will not say to you, resign for your job and stay without income and staying without food. This is not the purpose of Islam. Islam brings to protect 5 things. Protect your wealth, protect your religion, protect your brain, your mind, protect your dignity, and protect your soul, your life. This is the main 5 principles of Islam. So if you are in necessity and you don't have any other income than this job, stay it, but you need to spend some effort to find another replacement. Back to the cryptocurrency. In order, and I will give you the rules to judge on any transaction. First, you need to check if this transaction combine interest or not. Cryptocurrency. We just mentioned the gold, and the silver should be gold to gold equal amount, silver to silver equal amount. So cryptocurrency equal amount should be the same. Is that correct? If you change the same cryptocurrency with like Bitcoin, whatever they named, it should be the same amount because it's replaced. If you want to accept it as a currency, you should follow the same rule. So you have to replace the same amount if it's the same type, the same kind. Type. Second, if they are different kind, different cryptocurrency, there are many types of cryptocurrency. If they are different, like if you have gold and silver, you can have variation in amount, but should be on the spot, on the same time. So how can you fulfill this condition in cryptocurrency? First one, you have to equal amount if the same type, same kind. Second, if they are different kinds, you have to be on the spot. So this is the first point. So if anyone worked before with cryptocurrency can answer this question. Anyone here have experience with this? Actually,
you say experience with crypto?
Yeah. Do you have?
Yeah,
شوية. طيب. In order, if you want to exchange or between this currency, if they are equal, how can you make it on the spot? Means on the same time you send and the other received in the same time. It's applicable to do that?
No, you can't.
There is a delay?
It takes like 3 hours or...
3 hours. So this is a problem. Delaying in receiving is one of the things that make this illegal in Islamically, because we mentioned if you're dealing with a currency, if you accept it as a currency, you have to apply the rule of currency of gold on silver and so on. So if it is currency, it has to be send and receive in the same time. If there's delay, there's a problem. And equal, it cannot be equal. So how can you replace the same types with the same types with a variation? It should be the similar. So this is the first point. The first point, this kind of transaction has a way of interest by exchanging the delay in receiving the exchange, and there is inequality in the amount of the same types. The next thing, you need to check if there is a source of uncertainty and gambling in this transaction. What is the meaning of uncertainty? If this currency is an actual value, it has an actual value, as I can see some of this currency reach $100,000. Is it an actual or just people say it like that and maybe next day it's dropped to, so it is not an actual. So there is some uncertainty, some of gambling. When you buy this cryptocurrency today by $100 and tomorrow it will be 1,000. So it's like a gambling, you gamble it. So as you can see, there are two problems on the cryptocurrency. The first one, delaying of receiving of the exchange. Second one, the uncertainty that appears to be in this kind of transaction. There is kind of uncertainty. You don't know it's the accurate value. You don't know what will be tomorrow, what will be, you cannot judge well. Because of that, based on these two, it is recommended for everyone who dealing with this kind to stop it as soon as he can and search for another way of investment of money. طيب, we'll stop on this point, inshallah, and we have still maybe 2 or 3 minutes. If you have any questions regarding to this point or any other point, please go ahead. طيب, one by one. احتكار, there are two opinions in احتكار. احتكار means that you hold the items to increase the price. So you collect the items from the market. طيب. The first opinion mentioned it is only in the food stuff that is essential for the people. So if you collect all the rice from the market, or most of the rice, or you collect the wheat from the market, in order to you be the only source of these items, and then you press on the people to pay more, this is haram. La, Allah. Yeah, you have to, don't do that. It is ihtikar, it is illegal, Islamically. And gharar is kind like uncertainty as well. Gharar is like uncertainty. You don't know what's happened. You don't know what is the value of these items. You don't know what is the actual price. There is some kind of cheat. Gharar like cheating or uncertainty as well.
So there is no problem in buying a house and then a couple of years later when the prices go up.
No, this is not the case. If you buy house, it's different. But buying house, you have to fulfill the condition of buying in Islam. And this is maybe next lesson because it's a long topic. But maybe after the lesson I can give you a very short answer, inshallah, tonight about that. But we'll discuss this in details because there are many ways of buying house here in Australia. Which one is Islamically? We know, inshallah. So this is called ihtikar. That means you hold or you collect the items in order to increase the price. Right, question?
What about on the stock market and share market? Trading on share market.
Share market. Okay, share. Yeah, أحسنت. Wallahi, share market may be a similar concept like cryptocurrency, because the value of the share items, it is not accurate value, not realistic value. It is it's based on what happened behind the screen. The people sitting there increase that, decrease that. You don't know what's happening. So it has it has uncertainty, and also the problem, it may be invest in haram items in some of the companies that deal with items which is haram. It depends if this share is an accurate value and there is no kind of uncertainty, there is no kind of misleading of the value. In this case, is no problem, inshallah, if you deal with something legal Islamically. Any questions? جزاكم الله خيرا. Inshallah, after we stop the live, we can sit together if you need any question, inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.